From Germany's perspective, how do you view Indonesia's position in Germany's economic and investment landscape in Asia today? Is Indonesia becoming increasingly strategic?
Certainly, and thanks for the question. I think maybe I could give a bit of insight into how Germany is positioned in this global landscape. Germany is not as big as Indonesia, but it's the third biggest economy in the world. We're trailing the United States and China by far, but we're still ahead of India and Japan when it comes to GDP. So we are quite big, and we're globally invested, we're trading globally, and we are very export-oriented. But at the same time, I think it's important to know that more than half of our exports and our investment goes into the Eurozone. That is the core of the European Union. So very much of our wealth and our success is owed to the deep integration inside the European Union that we profit from the most. And still we are a global actor, a global player, a global investor and trader. And our strongest business partners globally are, of course, the biggest countries in the world. United States, China are very important. But increasingly we look at other partners that we had deep ties with, but where we see that there is a strategic possibility to increase our trade and also our investments. And that's why Indonesia is a country that is very much in the focus of German business, of German policymakers, and we think there is a lot of promise in fostering and expanding our relations.
How do you see the Indonesia's potential regarding that?
It is huge. I mean, you know the numbers, 280 million inhabitants and growing. 5% growth consistently. It's a very impressive trajectory that your country has been making over the last 20, 30 years. Investments in infrastructure. The market is huge. Your population is young, 29 on average. Those are numbers that really inspire the fantasy of policy and business people in Germany. So there's a lot to gain, and we think also the strategic positioning, the geography of Indonesia is very important. It's straddling the Indo-Pacific. It's close to very important trade routes. And by doing business in Indonesia, I think German companies can also have access to other markets in the booming region of Southeast Asia. So it's not only Indonesia by itself, which is a giant, but there's also the access to even bigger markets in the neighborhood. And that's what is an irresistible package for German businessmen if they start the long way to the other side of the globe.
Let me move back again, probably to the Indonesia and Germany partnership for many years. It has shared a strong economic partnership and bilateral partnership for many, many years, sir. From your perspective, what moments best reflect the depth of these relationships today?
I think the easiest way to illustrate the depth and the length of our cooperation is when you have a look at German companies being present here. They've been here for the long haul, for decades, really very many years. And German companies like Bayer, like Siemens, like Bosch, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, they've been investing and working and selling their products for a very long time.
And they have been daily lives for Indonesian people seen everywhere. Right?
I think there is a brand recognition that we can rely on, and I think Made in Germany still has a sound. And from the moments, the encounters that I had, not only in Jakarta but also outside, I know there is appreciation of German technology, German engineering, the reliability of our products, and I think you can find companies here, and I did, that has been using German equipment for decades, and it doesn't get old.
Sir, in a time of growing global uncertainties, we know the geopolitical tension, the economic pressure, shifting supply chain. How do you see the resilience and relevance of this Indonesia and Germany partnerships going forward?
I think it's our challenge and our common task to work on that resilience and also on the scale. I think the big question that is now is how do we really enhance the cooperation? How do we make it easier to invest in the respective other country? how to remove trade barriers so that exports run smoothly. Because, I mean, if I were to sum up the view of Germany on Indonesia, it's the word potential. We think we can do more, we should do more. Right now, less than 1% of our exports go into Indonesia. And I think with the appreciation on the Indonesian side, there's very many opportunities. So and that's also due to the geopolitical uncertainties and the geoeconomic ones that you mentioned. Having a reliable partner that has good experience with us is something that we want to invest more in.
Thank you so much, sir. As the opening of our discussion, I was just reading about the news about the IEU Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. That has been described by many people as a potential game changer. In your point of view, how crucial is this agreement to strengthen the trade relation between Indonesia and Germany?
I think it could be an incredible booster of our cooperation. Imagine that tariffs that were at 40% go to zero within 1 year. Suddenly, products become more affordable to Indonesian consumers. Byproducts might be more interesting to be used in supply chains by Indonesian producers, and that could go the other way around as well. What is maybe unknown, and that is a potential that can be tapped. Germany is also an agricultural exporter. It can bring produce to Indonesia that Indonesian consumers relish and export it at a cheaper price. Very many of the production lines, be that sports equipment, Adidas is very strong here, could really be factored in and make production in Indonesia more competitive. So there is a great potential. And it's our task as the embassy, me as an ambassador, to communicate in both ways, not only to Indonesians to tell them what is in for them if once the tariffs go down, but also address German business, German industry, and tell them there is a huge country where there's a high appreciation of your brands, go for it. And I think we are approaching a situation where like 98% of our tariffs are going to vanish overnight in a way with the application of this free trade. And so we have a common task of identifying what might be the profits for both of us coming out of that. So there is a high game changer potential.